We're going to dive into something very interesting, and the reason why is the technology moving forward for Web 3.0 with mass adoption, but more importantly with DApps. You have where certain bridges. We have hacks that are happening all over. People are deciding what bridges and technology you need to use, and so forth. And the companies that are coming in, what technologies are they supposed to use? What coin are they going to go on? So there's a lot of stuff that you have to go out there and do your. So that's kind of like the key to everything that we're really seeing out there. So we're going to cover a coin today that most people aren't covering, but it's very interesting because their technology is kind of an old school, new school twist to it. So let's dive into it. It is the Octopus Network. Now, the Octopus Network, obviously, right here, is an interesting coin for a couple different reasons. So on here, we're going to dive right into the white paper. If you guys don't know, we're on CoinMarketCap. It's where you can find all the coins, but more importantly, you can get the information. CoinMarketCap.com. You come over here, type in what coin you want to look at. It pops up. Right here are the networks. You have your websites, your sources, but more important, the white paper. So we're going to jump in here today. It's kind of like the white paper side. A little more of a quick browse, kind of what it means. So for me, I love a coin called Cosmos because Cosmos is dedicated to bringing companies from the outside into the Web 3.0, and that's a very big key. And if you guys don't know a little bit about what the entire Web 3.0 battle is that you have Ethereum, and two people, main developers that were part of Ethereum who left were Cardano and Polkadot. Now, the weird thing about it was when they both left Ethereum, the reason why they left Ethereum is because Ethereum's, when it was created for developers. It uses a thing called Java. There's a Java issue with Ethereum and certain things that it can and can't do. And then with the lacklusterness of that, you have two different companies pop up, which is Cardano, and then they decided to make a better version of Ethereum with smart contracts, just more mathematically inclined to basically be a better fit for the future of blockchain. And then you had another company called Polkadot who completely just said, we don't care about smart contracts, we're going to create parachains. And parachains are simply this: when you have a coin on a blockchain, instead of going to the next blockchain, so if anybody wants to leave Ethereum and go to Cardano, you have to completely rewrite your smart contract in Cardano and then move your product to Cardano. Where a parachain over at Polkadot, it just takes your smart contract, moves it right over. You don't have to rewrite anything, and then you're in a parachain, right? But parachain has its downsides, and that's what we're going to jump in today, because the thing about the Octopus Network is it kind of is going to come at this in a way that kind of solves that problem where it's going to a little bit back here. So E, you had a chance here. We were looking at some, if you guys aren't aware, but you need to pay special attention to Polygon, right? And the reason why we're saying that, because when you look at Polygon, if you guys are doing your Dior, if you'd read what Polygon has created over the last couple of months with its multi-chain bridge and its new security platform and how it's going to connect everything through, you'd realize how interesting this Octopus Network is. And also the Octopus Network is bringing Near Protocol into the program a little bit deeper, and this is probably why Near Protocol is getting some pumps, but it's always good to Dior. So E, when you had a chance to look at the Polygon, right, with the multi-chain bridge, when you look at this coin here, what are you thinking?
Almost the same thing, but they're doing it on an application layer.
What stands out to you when you kind of go through this?
That they're like what Polygon mentions about scalability and the cost of security. This company is talking about the same thing. So it's like they don't want to spend on security. They want to spend on the development of the purpose of their app. The multi-chain forwarded apps. Not to worry about security, I guess, if they're going to be running it inside the Near protocol.
Absolutely. So I mean, security is the number one thing, and I think all the things that have been happening with security have been through the bridges, and that's why Polygon's coming in with a multi-chain bridge to basically eliminate. And what that does is keep your Cosmos, your Rune, your Algo, your Polkadot, all on its own network or its chain, and it moves it through that's called trustless, and it's keeping it on its own chain, which basically maintains its own security that was built on the chain, but it's able to move it around and swap it in and out on a multi-chain, which is very interesting as far as how it's put in there. So that's kind of what the key thing is there. And with this company here, they're talking about, they kind of break it down a little bit more. It's kind of interesting because they actually explain that, when you create your own blockchain, or like coming in to create your own network, you're building a blockchain there. So essentially you're going to have to spend millions of dollars on security to create the stuff that Polkadot has and Cosmos has. And that's why you see a lot of these coins come out. They're always doing crowdfunding. They raise 350 million, they raise 20 million, they raise 30 million. Most of that's for security. So when we're looking at here, they're looking at basically allowing companies to come in and build chains, but they're basically going to be the original app chains. And the app chain would be basically, think of it like everyone's on one massive security system, and the app, like being on the internet, right? You're on the internet, but you have an app, and the app basically is operating inside of their network. So they want to cost effectively take the cost of security, wrap it into one protocol, and have all the app chains be developed on it. Sort of like how Polkadot has parachains, except this sounds like it would be unlimited. That makes sense? Is that about right?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it sounds about right, right? I mean, the Octopus Network, looking at their breakdown here, it's kind of like just, and on the other side, if you go and look at we'll do a side-by-side comparison on another video. We're just doing a quick run through here so you guys could Dior. It's very people to learn. But we'll show you a diagram of what's coming down the road with Polygon. And then looking at this diagram versus Polygon's diagram, you will see the differences. And this is very important on the investing side, because guys, if you're out there investing in all these other coins and all types of coins, but they're not part of these infrastructures, then you're just not in the right coin, right? So here they have the Octopus DAO, the OTC token. Here's the Rainbow Bridge. The Rainbow Bridge is what they're using to basically connect Ethereum over to the Near protocol. Now we know by doing a lot of research that Ethereum would actually use a Polygon multi-chain bridge instead of a Rainbow Bridge and kind of slide it in there. So it looks right here, the Octopus bridges. See how they have the Octopus bridge being built onto multi-app chain bridges. All right, so look at the app chain. So this is literally all the app chains just spinning around, and the Octopus bridge just bringing them in and out of the gateways. So what about this right here, after knowing all the stuff that we know about Polygon, that kind of like makes you say to yourself, it's interesting that you got to dig in a little more, E? Me for one is the Near.
They just brought this up. I hadn't honestly heard about this one, and now that you're bringing it up, I'm gonna have to dig more on it. So as of right now, I won't speak more about it. I'd have to dig more into it.
Yeah, you got a Dior. Now what I'm looking at, just kind of like not like digging in and like giving exact answers, but what's catching my eyes, like here, there's two type of participants sitting on the supply side of a market: app chain validators and app chain delegators. Validators will stake the OCT. So they're going to have all the type of staking rewards as the delegators directly after the validators, commissions, everything's in there. So it looks like it's going to run the same. And then the Octopus Relay enables the app chain's interoperability with Near protocol and Ethereum via a Rainbow Bridge, right? So additionally, app chains can utilize an out-of-box IBC palette to connect with any IBC-enabled blockchains directly. Any assets issued on Ethereum, Near protocol, or IBC. So there's a lot. This seems like it's kind of like interchangeable here. So it's just being done in a more of a simpler way, I would say, where businesses can come in. It's almost like having a what do they call that? Plug and play type scenario.
Plug and play, yeah.
I would think of this as more of a plug and play. So limitations of content security. The first model has each each app chain relying on its proof of work or proof of stake security. So this is what we were talking about earlier, like the whole ideal of the Polygon multi-chain, or the proper way to do security, is that the first layer 1 token, or layer 0, layer 1 tokens, all are within what they call their trustless situation, which means that the first model has each app chain relying on its own proof of work or proof of stake security, meaning that the coin has its own security, right? So Longneck one, Vitalik Buterin coined this as the easy solutions. As Cosmos falls into this category because of their very high cost of tap out ASICs, bootstrapping secure the proof of work public blockchain is extremely hard, though it's much easier. So for proof of stake based blockchain to achieve self-contained security, which is interesting because when you go through this right here, right? So you have so let's go through it again. So Cosmos falls into the category because of its very high cost of tape out ASIC bootstrapping a secure proof of work public blockchain. Is extremely hard, though it's much easier for proof of stake based blockchain to achieve self-contained security. Its security becomes fragile when sustainable amount of cross-chain assets exist. In that situation, manipulating the consensus often turns out to be profitable. And if you guys don't know what that is, that's basically when they're out there wrapping coins, it's creating a bridge and an access in the consensus where by wrapping tokens, it's creating a situation that it's outside the cross chain, right? Now, what this kind of like blows me away here is that part right there, that it's much easier for proof of stake based blockchain to achieve self-contained security. I mean, I thought the whole reason of Bitcoin was to stay proof of work was for security. So we'd have to look, you know what I mean? We'd have to kind of look at that and see what the difference is in that, right? Security becomes fragile when substantial amount of cross-chain assets exist, meaning that your coin is outside of its chain and it's wrapped inside of liquidity and all these other things. It becomes it becomes the consensus often turns in where it becomes more profitable to kind of like do certain things to make money. So Kim, you're kind of digging in here doing research. What do you think about all this?
Well, actually, I'm on the same page with EC. I'm going to sit down and actually go through and read all of it.
It's something worth reading, right?
Oh, for sure.
Here's what I could say in general, because we've been doing this, a couple times that people come on here and say, hey, can you check this out? If you are looking at let's call them an asset, okay? Whichever way you want to refer to a token or whatnot. If you're seeing in the white papers that they're emphasizing a lot on security, I'm starting to lean to the side that they're starting to care about these tokens, assets, or whatnot, because they're starting to look that security is very important, and those will be assets that I would like to invest in.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I think with all the hacks that are happening every day and those big, massive hacks, I mean, especially with Longneck coming out saying that there's a specific bridge that is the only way to do it, right? And multi-chain is the way to go. And Polygon is paving the way with all their work into that. So if Ethereum, I don't think Ethereum's going anywhere. I think Ethereum's going to, with the smart contracts, they are kind of where security, smart contracts and securities are going to exist at least for the first decade, I would assume, right? So with the hacks and everything like that, they're easily showing that the hacks are coming from a very specific weak point in the system. So why would you use anything that is weak? Right? So right out the gate, you have to just, this entire market is based on security and, showing that people's money's safe. Like the weird, every time I get information, I analyze it in like 17 different ways. my whole thing is like when I watch these hacks that happen, I was just amazed that these companies are making so much money off the public. Like we should be extremely pissed off that they're losing 20-30 million dollars, and it's like, how did you make that much, right?
Well,
I mean,
they're not. They're
I mean,
not making security a top priority. If they're being hacked that easy.
I'm just kind of weird. I'm just kind of saying to myself, like, how are you making so much? Like, when I find out that Ethereum does 7 to 8 trillion dollars in transactions, and we know they're taking 40% of that for gas, I'm just like blown away. So, so that's kind of like the entire thing for me is like, you know, where that goes. So that's really why I always the insult short neck. Jerry, you got a long neck? Jerry's upset. He's part of the long neck crew. You look like a short necker though, bro. But and it's not an insult, man. It's just having fun with the guy. Jerry's all personal. Not every kid gets a trophy, Jerry. Give it back. And at the end of the day, you have to get to where the security is going to go this one direction, right? Because I think after everyone's creating the security, they're not changing from the two options. You know what I mean? Like there's nobody talking about some type of new super security. It's all coming. I think everyone's agreeing on this one form of security. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, moving down the road, I think if you're Dioring and actually like thinking about investing in any type of cryptos, I think when it comes to the cross chain, cross bridge, those bridges, that Ethereum has a very solid grip on this new technology. So that's kind of like the key to everything. And then this company comes along and they're also forming a very substantial movement towards what I like is the ability of security, but the companies can be, I like this plug and play option, right? Because I don't think what other companies can offer a plug and play with security, right? I mean, is that kind of what, I mean, obviously guys, we got to do more research here, but these are the questions that we need to, I'm just giving you things to think about, things when you're doing your research. You can kind of like go out there and kind of like figure out, what you should be looking at. I mean, I'm just wondering myself, like, what other security is possible? I mean, like when I read that part about it's easier for proof of stake to get this type of individual security. I mean, that kind of makes me think of Bitcoin. Like, well, why is it proof of work so important to Bitcoin, right? I mean, did that cross your mind too? Did that just pop up in my mind, or it's just interesting? Now, the shard. Now, remember a lot of these. Don't forget, there's a lot of coins out here that are pushing the shard process, right? So, and Near Protocol that's kind of like the biggest thing about Near Protocol. But suppose a network allocates one shard per application. In this case, it could only support a few tens of applications, with each application having to pay a few tenths of the total network consensus cost, which does not make sense for either the network or the applications. A parathread may seem like a workaround, but it still lacks elaboration. At least some types of the applications, such as decentralized gaming and social media, and underlining blockchain without liveness guarantee, like a parathread, is meaningless. So this is something like to throw in the back of while you're doing your research is kind of remember these things that are, these developers are talking about here. So this is why looking at the Octopus network, it'd be very interesting. The security aspect, I will say this, they're on the right path to security because Polygon and Ethereum have already decided that this is the way to go. There are thousands of examples of why this is the way to go. So I would say the Octopus network is probably a strong investment for a portfolio at this moment, simply because of what it already has coming down the road, and what it has to offer. So it's a very solid thing right there. You know, it just seems like they're on top of their game. So it's going to be good, guys. I don't want to go too far into the video. We'll make another video where we'll take, after we've done further research, we'll be able to connect the Polygon, because you got to, I know if you guys aren't paying attention, Polygon is going to lead the way in this field. And from there, it's going to really set the standard of security and how to operate and how to move through blockchains and cross bridges and multi-chain bridges, etc. So that's where I think it's really cool. Now, getting into price and where to buy it and all this other stuff, let's do a quick run here. I'll show you guys. Anytime that you want to know where to get a coin, how to buy a coin, what to do, how to research a coin or anything, you just slide over here to coinmarketcap.com. Type in the coin that you're looking for and it pulls it up. It's always going to have its network. It's always going to have its community. It's always going to have its white paper. I don't know how much the white paper really means on every coin unless you're actually getting into a coin that has some type of real company behind it, real developers. So don't read every white paper thinking that it actually means something. Just kind of like you know, read it to if it's a company that's expanding and compare it against what it means. So this is Octopus, and it can be bought and found. You scroll all the way down here, Octopus Network Markets. Markets just means on where you can buy it. You can get it on Gate.io, Uniswap, MEXC, and Reef Finance. Scrolling down, another thing that I look for here, guys, if you're doing a little bit of information, is scroll down and see if you can find like any articles on it. Now, there are no articles right here, so which means, you know, they're not getting any news. Now, that's a good thing, because if they're not getting any news, then they're probably not as expensive as they should be, because there's no media behind it. So the next thing I wanted to look at, just to kind of top in here before we leave, it had an all-time high of $6. It's down to $2, so there's some growth potential there. But what I wanted to compare before I move on, and I'll get into the next video a little bit more, is how much supply. So here it has 100 million tokens. Polygon has 10 billion tokens. Now that is very interesting to me, because 100 million tokens, Polygon, which is its competitor, has 10 billion. Right? So that right there, what's that a 10x, Kim?
Yeah.
Right, 100 million, 10x would give us, no, it's 100x. Because 10x would just take us from 100 million to a billion.
Yep.
So it's 100x. Now this gets very interesting as an investor. Now I'm really into this, because if Polygon is 100 times larger than this company, and it's trading at $1.40, and I go back and look, and it has reached a peak of 272. Now, if I take that times 10, right, that means that it's $27, right? It can manifest. So now I take a look at Octopus, and I come back and I go, okay, Octopus is at 250. I get a 10x. I mean, if it's basically a tenth of the size of Polygon, this coin could go to $25.
Bing bong.
Bing bong. But now what I'm going to do to confirm what I'm thinking here is I'm going to go over, and remember we talked about another coin. Do you remember what coin we talked about? Polkadot. Now I'm going to slide down to Polkadot to confirm what I think, right? Because I know Jerry needs to know what I'm thinking. Jerry, how you doing out there, Jerry? Short neck one. We have 10. Here's Polkadot with 1 billion, right? Which is 10 times larger than the 100 million, right? And what do you see?
Goes to the 20.
Goes to the 20.
My man.
My man. That's my man right there. He does research and analyticals. My man, Kim. That's what we talking about. My man, Kim. What up, Kim? My man. Gotta be chilling, my man Kim. What do you think about that, Kim?
I think it's great.
I think it makes sense, right? Pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you come down here. I love reading these comments. They're always like exciting. Octa in the right hand of Near Protocol. If you believe in Near doing a 3x from here, then Oct can easily do a 10.
There it is. There it is.
I mean that just makes perfect. It just makes perfect sense, you know. And then you're just getting a little bit more, you know. And Near Protocol hasn't even started to explode. So that's where you have to kind of like really set yourself and say, okay, man. I mean, Near Protocol is getting a lot of information. How much are they working with here? So they're working on 1 billion tokens. They're up there with Polkadot. So you see what I'm saying? When you have Polkadot type money in Near Protocol, same amount of tokens, right? So let's see here. So market cap 11 billion. Polygon market cap 11 billion. Go figure. Polkadot market cap 18 billion, right? And that's just based on supply, what they're operating, right? See how circulating supply is 900, almost 1 billion. You slide over to Polygon, circulating supply is 7.8 billion. That's why the price is going that way. And then Octopus, Near Protocol, they're only operating at 675 million. So if you take that, get it closer to that billion, then this is worth $20 today and Polkadot's worth 18. I think we got a race here, boys.
And the race is on.
The race is on. I mean, this makes this really, really bullish. So, I mean, I would definitely be locking in Near Protocol. I would be locking in Octopus. You know, because at the end of the day, Polkadot's worth $45. Right? So Near Protocol should be worth a little bit more or around the same. Right, $45. Here you go. That's a 2x. But that Octopus, man, that has an easy 10x. I mean, that's some.
What did you call me?
What did you call me, man? I mean, that's kind of. I mean, that's really where we're looking at. Is that's the what's this? MIT. The host is declining that host. MIT. I'm bullish for small cap gems. $5. I'm selling at. And that's kind of what it is. And so, guys, when you find these type of things, you got to get locked and loaded, man. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. So we're going to do a deeper dive into this to really get some more information, because we have to try to kind of compare the Polygon against the entire scenario. But, I mean, from what we can read right now, it seems very legit that this is all going to play out in a very positive way. But other than that, man, guys, that's how you Dior. That's how you get in there and really dig into everything that's possible. And that's the point of doing research. It just opens up the door to, where you can see more, guys. Other than that, man, we'll catch you guys later. Thanks for paying attention. Dior on it. And that's how you can piece together an entire network for everything that's out there. Other than that, we'll be back in another episode where we put these two projects, Octopus versus Polygon. So look for that episode.